Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. First intermission report, Avs Penguins. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley, and Megan, I think this is the first time that we've done a first intermission report that not only are the Avs leading, but are kind of doing so in convincing fashion. They're up 2-0 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Megan, we'll start here. Was that their best road period so far of this trip?
Maybe the best road first period, I would say, because to your point, they did a lot of the right things early. I felt like it's taken them a little bit of time to get into games this way, but it looks like they have such a good handle on it. I've used this word before, but it's repeatable through the rest of this hockey game. And Pittsburgh's in a tough goaltending position that they can aim to capitalize on, but they're also just doing a lot of the right things that I'm not going to say this is an easy path forward, but getting 2 goals lead on them in the first is a great start.
It just feels like this isn't something that we've seen a whole lot of this season and even on this trip, which has been pretty positive so far. 3-1 heading into this final road game here on this trip. But really, I thought that was the most in control the Avs have looked. I think that was they looked calm. And they looked like the better team. And Megan, I made the comment to you at one point, and we're not going to have to do this for every intermission show tonight and the post game, but this looks like a team that's had some life breathed into them. And you just won't convince me that it's not a result of management going out and saying, we think you guys deserve for us to make a move that improves our chances, that raises the spirits around the room. And bringing in Mackenzie Blackwood, not even playing tonight. It just, you can feel the energy from the Avs. It's different than it was a week ago.
In talking to Chris McFarland, he said that the goalie transactions were actually separate, but obviously they feed into one another. And I think we're still seeing the returns of even Scott Wedgwood, almost got him Scotch, Scott Wedgwood, because of what's now been very consistently described as an upbeat, positive attitude. It's fair to say he has injected life back into this team. He's the guy in between the pipes for them tonight.
Yep.
Not tested too much in that first period, but definitely in those final seconds and at points, and comes up with some saves. But what I like too is the way the team is defending in front of him. And I do think it is all interconnected. This is a team that is defending their net front now with a little more vigor, clearing pucks more quickly and making it more challenging just to be there, and eliminating then rebound opportunities for Pittsburgh, which makes Scott Wedgwood's life. This is really a nickname. Scott Wedgwood's life.
I'm just going to throw up Abby's comment every time that we mess it up.
Scott, I'm sorry. I think they've called him Wood Wedge on the broadcast.
Twice.
So I feel mixed emotions. Like they could be doing it to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny right now. But I agree. This is a team with some life in them. Chris McFarland even used the words that he felt the team was owed this. So there's a lot of truth in what you're saying, and it definitely makes a difference in the team's place.
You can tell that the team appreciates it. We were owed this, but just like, thank you. Thank you for doing something. Again, this isn't me trying to like bury Alexander Georgiev, but it was just something that was clearly something that needed to be adjusted, something that needed to be taken care of. And it's something that has obviously had an impact on the team and the way that they're feeling in that room on a nightly basis right now. And I think it's reflecting well here tonight. Let's talk about these 2 goals. 2 great efforts for the Avs so far on both these goals. Show-stopping, I think, on kind of both of them. First, about 7 minutes in, a little bit less than 7 minutes in, Nathan MacKinnon wins a race, wins a battle in the neutral zone. Then it's a 2-on-1, Megan. He holds on, and it was a vintage Nathan MacKinnon, not a vintage Nathan MacKinnon shot, a classic Nathan MacKinnon shot, beating Tristan Jarry over the glove. Jarry got a little piece of it, just couldn't handle the Nathan MacKinnon, the heaviness behind his shot. I told you I love the play in the neutral zone to separate from a defender and then win a race. Nathan MacKinnon kind of created that one out of nothing.
I love it starts in their own end with a good breakout. Taves and Mikko Rantanen making sure to stay on top of pucks and get them out. And then, of course, Nathan MacKinnon finishes it off with the speed to beat Grzelcyk and just carry that puck in ahead of everyone else. And, of course, a highly skilled player has a highly skilled shot, and he finally gets rewarded. I was saying this in the last post game that I feel that top line has deserved a better fate as of late because process-wise, I think they've been doing a lot of the right things. And so there's sometimes frustration that gets attached to these players, but I actually think they've been doing so many good things, and I think they're starting to get rewarded for it now, similarly with the Mikko Rantanen goal later.
Well, and that's such a funny point that you make because I feel like, especially with a guy like Nathan MacKinnon, so here's what was funny. When we hit, it was the last home game, we hit the 10-game mark between goals for Nathan MacKinnon. It had been 10 games since he'd scored a goal the last time they were in Denver. And I remember my guy D-Mac looks at me and he goes, has that ever happened? This has to be the longest streak of his career. Well, seconds later, Rachel Toss walked up with her sheet and she goes, what are you guys talking about how long his longest streak is? Do you know what it is?
13?
16 games just a couple seasons ago. And Nathan MacKinnon has had a couple of 14, a 13. So like this is not something wildly uncommon for Nathan MacKinnon for him to go, a dozen or so games without scoring a goal. And I feel like sometimes we take it for granted a little bit, how dominant he can be. And it's like, yeah, you're going to go through stretches like this. And as long as they continue to do good things, not just Nathan MacKinnon, but the top players for the Avs in general, as long as they continue to do good things, they're going to end up getting rewarded. Some more good things happen later in the period. Megan is Cale Makar with an outstanding pinch and then a great play to make a small little pass in tight right in front of the net. And then Mikko Rantanen within about 5 feet of the net somehow goes forehand, backhand, forehand, and lifts it up over Tristan Jarry's pad in the final handful of minutes of that first period, pushed the lead to 2, and felt like it was something that the Avs maybe deserved a little bit, given the way that they had played that first period, to extend the lead.
Yeah, because they were creating opportunities and they felt connected to in their attack line by line, especially 1 through 3 in terms of chances. Not a great power play to start the period, and I think that what I like is the adjustments. They weren't able to create very much against a decent penalty kill on behalf of Pittsburgh, but they course corrected by scoring 5v5, and I think that makes it feel a lot better. And I also think it's important for those top guys not to get hung up on that. And I think that's where the skill starts to take over in that Mikko Rantanen goal. But it's all born from a little bit of hard work at the beginning too, there with Lehkonen working for the puck below the goal line. Doesn't necessarily win that battle, but it gets to a part of the ice where Cale Makar can outskill everyone and outmaneuver to get that puck to Mikko Rantanen for the finish. And it's such a highly skilled play. I feel like I've used the word skill and highly a lot in this intermission report, but it's true because we're seeing Colorado Stars be stars. And I love to see it because we've talked about some of the reasons when they're off could be mental. They get in their heads a little bit too much. And so it's nice to see maybe a little bit of that pressure taken off their shoulders because this is the fun part of hockey. You know that they're also having fun out there doing this.
Yeah, and I want to key in on something that you said there. You said it starts with the work of Arturi Lehkonen there in the neutral zone.
The mic is going nuts. So sorry.
Here, why don't we go to me on this camera right here, and Megan can just do her own thing over there. We talk about work ethic based. We talk about things being work ethic based for the Avs. It's been something that we have keyed on a lot here recently, that everything starts with the work. Everything starts with the work for the Avs. And both these goals tonight, I like the work from Nathan MacKinnon in the neutral zone. Winning a race, winning a battle, fighting off a stick, and then putting himself in position to make the play right at the net. And like you just said, that second goal, yes, it's a highly skilled finish, highly skilled play in and around the net, but it starts with hard work, keeping the zone, keeping that play alive. What Josh Manson told me a month ago now it just seems like it continues to resonate every single night in one direction or the other. Either, yeah, we can see the work being put in that is leading directly to the results. And then on the flip side, when the work isn't going in, we can see that the results don't always follow. And it's just so funny to me because we sit here and try to break things down and try to say, oh man, he did this and that. And it just comes down to work. And I feel like that's what the Avs are doing tonight. The work seems like it's there. You mentioned what they're doing defensively in front of the net. To me, it's all just they're outworking the Penguins right now. And when the Avs are doing that and they're giving themselves a chance to be in the skilled position spots, that's how it happens. You work, you get the reward by finding yourself in the right position. And to your point, when you got elite players, they convert.
I hope this sounds okay. The work puts the puck on their stick more, and that eliminates opportunities that put them in vulnerable positions, and it allows for that more balanced attack. I talk about, Springs Logan O'Connor on a breakaway and capitalizing on a turnover. And I think that's because they're firing on all cylinders on the work level. It's not just that the skill is there, but the work ethic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when opportunity starts to find them as a group.
It's again, I think we forget sometimes because they're just so skilled. It's like, oh, I'll just go out there and be better. But you're right. It's when they're working their hardest is when the results seem to follow as a group. And it's amazing how much it seems to follow around guys like Mikko Rantanen and Cale Makar, because those are the guys out there putting the work forward. We talked about Scott Wedgwood doing his job there in the first. Again, maybe not overly tested down till the end, but the theme that we've talked so much about this season, Megan, is make the stops you should and a couple that you shouldn't. So far in this game, he stopped everything that he should.
Two big ones right at the end of the period can absolutely change the tone going into the locker room between intermission too. Beauvillier wrister, but then the Raquel snapshot just after. You could see Parker Kelly even frustrated by the D-zone faceoff loss to allow that in the final seconds. But here's the difference. Your goaltender made saves. Yep. You go down this period, still up 2 goals. That's it. It's pretty simple. And I have to imagine that feels a lot different and feels really good for this Avs team.
Well, and I really do. I think that goes back to, the breath of fresh air in that locker room. I don't think Alexander Georgiev was this crazy, toxic, person to have in the room that nobody wanted around. But you just, whether you love Alexander Georgiev or didn't care for his time here, you cannot argue with what we were seeing on the ice this season. And it's not hard to draw that parallel to guys are frustrated and guys don't have a lot of confidence in him back there. And I just think when you combine that with the fact that we know Alexander Georgiev can be an intense guy, can be someone who isn't afraid to criticize his teammates, that can be good. 2 things. 1, if it's done constructively. And 2, if you're a guy like Nathan MacKinnon, who also goes out there and yells at his teammates and can slam doors and sticks sometimes, he's also Nathan MacKinnon, and he's the reigning MVP and Ted Lindsay.
He takes care of his own.
Right.
He puts his money where his mouth is himself.
Right. And I remember once I was probably 13, 14 years old, and I got really upset with a couple teammates on the bench. And after the game, my dad talked to me about it, and he said, I never want to see you do that again. And I said, well, they messed up. He goes, I know. You messed up too. Do you remember this play? If you ever can come off the rink and say, I played a perfect game, he said, oh, I'm fine with you yelling at your teammates. But until you feel like you played a perfect game, then you need to find a better way to deliver that criticism. And again, when you're Nathan MacKinnon and you're a 50-something goal scorer and a 140-point getter and an MVP and all that, yeah, you get a little bit more wiggle room to be a little bit more upfront and honest with your teammates. When the team is as frustrated as they were with Georgiev's play, and then you have that little bit of friction on top of that at times, I can understand why we were seeing frustrated versions of this team. And it just feels like they have, more juice in their step tonight. More, let's go. Let's do this. The distractions are gone. We're clean slate in net. Let's start over. And I think the Penguins are getting firsthand what a motivated Avs team looks like.
It's a revival. I don't know that single-handedly Alexander Georgiev would be the reason for the morale being low. It was a self-defeating cycle of mistakes for this whole Avalanche team that it just exacerbated the problem and the lows of this year, because there have been plenty of lows so far. They're extremely depleted. There's constant injury updates that just disappoint at every turn. I think this has just been a really nice way of providing a fresh new change and kind of resetting and revitalizing this group.
Revitalizing, I think, is a great way of putting that. Getting ready to drop the puck on the second period here, Megan. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to see the Avs keep doing, start doing, stop doing, anything like that?
No, I'm just kidding. No, they just need to keep doing exactly what they did in the first period.
Yep.
I'd like to see that second line actually get going just a little bit. I'm not saying they need to have a ridiculously points productive type of night, but last I checked, they had yet to register a shot on net, just a bit unlike them in how they've been playing lately. So just want to see a little bit more.
A little bit more. I'm with you. I want to see them continue a lot of what we've seen, but ramp it up. Ramp it up a little bit here. We saw the Avs take their game to a different level going into the third period in New Jersey when we had said, hey, a lot of good things. Just keep doing the same, but you're gonna have to ramp up your intensity because New Jersey will as well. Same thing here tonight. This isn't Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins. You're crazy if you think they're just gonna go away. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna make sure that they keep fighting. You want to see the Avs take it up another level here in this middle frame. But I think that's going to do it for the first intermission. We will be back second intermission and post game. Meghan Angley, Jesse Montano, got John behind the glass today. That'll do it. First intermission done. Puck about to drop in the second period. We will be back second intermission. Thanks so much, guys.